Hey, what's up everybody? What's going on? Welcome to the cooking channel. I'm David and you're in my kitchen. Today we're going to be not cooking in Brooklyn. What does that mean? It is hot. It's the middle of the summer. The dog days of summer as they call it, and I don't want to cook. A lot of times during the summer, you don't want to cook. It's too hot to be slaving over a stove. I don't even want to be outside right now. The humidity is pretty high. I don't even want to be outside by the grill or nothing today. It's pretty haggard out there. So I want to prepare something, and I don't want to cook it, and I want it to be seasoned. You know what I'm saying? And today, I get my inspiration to cook from different things. Sometimes I see something, sometimes I hear something, sometimes I smell something, and it'll give me the urge to cook something, or it'll put something in my mind. So today, let's backtrack a little bit, give you a little thing. Yesterday, I was in the fridge trying to make some space, looking at what needs to get thrown out or whatever like that, and I came across in this little drawer that we put, this little shelf that we put vegetables and stuff in it. I came across a couple of tomatoes that were a little soft, a little past the pretty stage, but they're still good tomatoes, right? And also, and here's another little plum one that's similar. A little piece of half a cucumber, that's still good. A little piece of onion, a little piece of red onion, and a little quarter of a green pepper. And this put me, and also some scallion that's like, it's starting to wilt, but it's not brown, there's nothing funky or mushy in the bag, so it's still good. So it put me in the mind of what can I do with this stuff real quick instead of getting rid of it. And the first thing that came to my head was, it's summer, it's hot, what do I like in the summer when it's hot like this that I can do, aside from like a salad? This is kind of it wouldn't be, this stuff would make for a real great salad, because face it, it's getting a little wilty, it's getting a little ugly. So I came up with a brilliant idea of making a gazpacho. Now, what is gazpacho? It's a cold tomato-based soup. Ta-da! And that's where I got my inspiration from for today's cook. And the great part about this is I don't have to turn the stove on. All I'm going to do is do a little bit of chopping, slicing, combining, some seasoning, and then also another thing that inspired me was, while I was out of town the other day, this little gadget came. I ordered it on Amazon or one of those things, and it's like an immersion blender, like a stick blender. Ta-da! And then this little engine here also does some food processing, small scale food processing, and also, where'd it go? I get excited about this stuff. A little, like NutriBullet type thing, a little cup blender also. So, I can kill two birds with one stone. I can satisfy a craving that I'm having. I can, actually three birds with one stone. I can save these vegetables and fruits, and I can test out my new kitchen gadget. And I love kitchen gadgets. So, sit back, relax, and watch how this gazpacho is gonna come together. Down to it, we're just gonna do a little bit of cutting, peeling, chopping, processing to get this dish underway. I'm gonna put everything in this big bowl to combine. I'm gonna put all of the scraps and everything in this garbage bowl right here. So I don't have to do too much moving around, right? So we're gonna start with the tomatoes. And these were on the vine. You can just pull that out. I had this apple corer, and I used this apple corer to also core tomatoes. Now, I just get right down in the middle, and I don't know, I hate this part. I hate to see it, and the other butt end part too. These two parts of the tomato, I don't know, it's like a phobia. If I get it, I don't want, it's nasty to me for some reason. So I like to just get right in, and once you get a straight line going, you'll get both pieces. And you get rid of that right away. Give these like a dice, right? All right, now that I got all the tomatoes out of the way, I got about 4 or 5. I think I got, let's see how many cores I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 tomatoes, some plum, some of these vine tomatoes, and one like slicing tomato, one of the big fat beefsteak type tomatoes. So I got rid of all the tomatoes that I wanted to use from the fridge, and I picked up a couple more just to have on hand and to supplement this thing. And now we're gonna switch gears and move on to the cucumbers. All right, so I got the little half of ugly cucumber. Here's that part. We're not gonna use that, definitely. So we're gonna peel this cucumber piece, and I like to get at least most of the peel off the cucumbers, because when they package these cucumbers to, if you're not buying like organic, when they package the cucumbers, it has some wax on it, and you have to get something like citric acid or something like fruit wash in order to break that wax down. The roughage of the peel is actually good for you, but you don't really want to be eating that wax. That wax is what it helps to kind of preserve it. And so if you look, sometimes you'll see some cucumbers that are very heavily waxed. So I try to take as much of the skin off as I possibly can. So I'm gonna do, I just cut these in half. So I'm just gonna seed these by using a spoon, and you just scrape the seeds out just like this. Cucumbers are melons. They're part of the melon family, and you'd be surprised how it kind of tastes like a little bit like when you take the seeds out, it tastes a little bit like a not so sweet honeydew. You get the melony taste of the cucumber when you take the seeds out. The seeds kind of make it more bitter, and that's kind of why we associate cucumbers with vegetables and not fruits. It's a fruit. It's like a tomato's a fruit, and it's a melon. So when you take the seed out, it changes the flavor of the cucumber. So it's more along the lines of like the melon rind, or like a not so sweet honeydew melon. When you take the seeds out, try that out. Let me know what you think. Drop comments. Drop tips. If you do something different, if you've heard something different, I'm not somebody who doesn't want to learn. If your grandmama has a better recipe, I want to know about it. So please participate in this process. This is a give take. This is a two-way street. I want to learn more stuff as I go along too. If you're interested in teaching me something, so I'm just putting a diced coarse chop on the cucumber. A little bit more of that skin off. All right. And I said I don't think I'll have to turn the stove on at any point during this this exercise. I will get to turn on my new gadget though. So I had a half a cucumber left, so I got 2 more cucumbers. I like my gazpacho chunky and full body. So there's a couple more cucumbers that are gonna go in there. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna peel half seed, and I'm gonna chop these bad boys up, and then we're gonna move on to the next step. Be right back. Cucumber is done. We're gonna use just a half of this bell pepper, and I chose a yellow one just for color. They all taste the same to me. I'm just gonna cut out this white part, which is a little bitter. Still gonna try to use as much of the pepper as possible. But just that little rib, it's a little bitter. And everything is just getting a coarse chop, a small dice. I don't want these pieces to be too big, so I'm gonna kind of cut them a little finer. And this is some hardcore Japanese steel here. And this thing will take your finger smooth off if you let it. So, I almost got it. I felt a little nick. I felt a little scratch. All right, so we got half of a bell pepper in there. There's a little piece of white onion. Who knew it was hiding? Okay. I got a piece of this green pepper. I'm gonna do the same thing. Cut out the ribs. Cut out the bitter parts. And dice this right up. So here's a piece of red onion that was left over in the fridge. And again, I mean, some people call gazpacho garbage soup because you're literally using stuff that you want to get rid of. You know? I mean, sometimes this little stuff is not the prettiest, but it does come in handy. So when I'm cooking, I try not to. If I don't use it, I'll try to see where I can use it another day. Just this little tiny piece of onion is almost enough for this whole affair. That's about a good tablespoon of onion right there. So I have a little bit more, and this is how you get these pieces. Is I'm only going to use this much of the onion, and then this much goes back in the fridge, and I can use it another day. All right, so we got some onion, and there we're in a home stretch. So we've got tomatoes, onions, and cucumber. I'm gonna put a little bit of this scallion. See, this scallion is starting to turn. It's getting all sad and wilty. Let me find a little bit to rescue. That's about it. Get it down to the home stretch. We're almost finished chopping, peeling, dicing. I got a jalapeno, just julienne, Could I get away with cooking without garlic? Or even not cooking without garlic? I'm gonna do 1 clove. This is the first time you've seen this. 1 clove of garlic is plenty for this entire thing. Now, usually, I'm going for 34 cloves. So, I'm just gonna drop this 1 clove in my new food processing device. Voila. Lock it. And here's a little Engineer hood. Brand new, hot off the press. And let's see how this thing works. Sometimes I have a big food processor, and then I have a medium food processor, and sometimes I don't want to take all that hardware out. So I like, I like the gadget. So this is going to save me some time and energy in washing all that big gadgetry. So this looks like you just stick it right in here and turn to lock it. Yeah, and there it goes. Nice little pulse. Cool. Now, you know darn well I could have broke that down by hand. But, come on. This is me, baby. Get in here, get this garlic out. Alright, get it down to the nitty of the gritty. Now, I get to use my new gadget again. Okay, this is the immersion blender portion. So now I use the same little engine, and then I clip this bad boy in place, clip. And now I get this immersion blend. So this is like, you see the blades in here? And they spin, and you just crush, crush, crush. So cool, I love this thing. Oh, the ghost is back. Anyway, pardon me while I immersion blend. Oh, it would be nice if I plugged it in. There we go. I'm trying to get most of the tomatoes right now nice and juicy, because it's got to be soupy somewhere, right? And we put all of these goodies in here, but the tomatoes are really the base part of the soup, right? So I'm gonna get far down to the gritty as I can. And I'll take a few other things with me, but I'm gonna create the base for the soup by blending most of the tomatoes, and I want the crunch of the other stuff to kind of remain intact. Okay, that's as far as I want to go. Could I have used my food processor? Yes. Would it have been as much fun? Come on. Come on. Alright, so let me see what the consistency is of this here Gazpacho, right? Chunky, yes, pretty chunky. And although I do want my Gazpacho pretty chunky, I want to liquefy a little bit more tomato just to add a little bit more juiciness to the base. Totally liquefied in a couple of seconds. Just add that, and that makes our base nice and moist and juicy. Okay, now we got the consistency of the soup, right? So you gotta season this bad boy. Simple is the best. I'm going with a nice pinch of salt, and that was about teaspoon and a half. Let's do that again. We have a lot here. Nice pinch of salt. Healthy pinch of pepper. This is freshly ground, of course. Healthy pinch of pepper. I'm just going to stir this in. Try to mix it up thoroughly. There's a lot of freshness in here. All those fresh vegetable and fruit combining. So you gotta, you gotta be expected to season it up a little bit. I'm gonna grab some red wine vinegar. Bring some little bit of sweetness and a little bit of that tartness of the vinegar to the party. And this is gonna be about a third of a cup, that is. Eyeballing. Sounds good, right? I don't know how much it was. I poured some. A third of a cup. I don't know. I poured some. You gotta use your eyes a little bit. I don't have recipes. So you gotta use your eyes a little bit and see the proportion of the stuff you have, and you know the taste of something and how much you want to kind of, how much of that taste do you want in here? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta kind of balance that out. And then what you do is, you don't put too much on your first go. You put some, and then you try it out and see how you like it. All right? Now, get right down in the center. That's what I like to do. I stir around and I taste, and I get across, and I try to get everything in there. All right? So, it's like a salad, broken down in your mouth. Okay, so what am I getting? I'm getting all the flavors. It needs a little something else. It needs a little acidity, so I'm going to put a little bit of lemon. Put a little bit of lemon juice. So this is half of a lemon. A little bit more acidity to go along with the vinegar, the red wine vinegar. I'm gonna add some more because it wasn't enough. So we got the whole lemon. And I'm also gonna grab my zester. I'm gonna get some of the lemon zest in there, and that's gonna give it a nice kick, right? Should have did this before I squeezed it. It makes it easier, but it'll work. Just want to get the lemon zest off this little microplane right till you start seeing that, oops, right till you start seeing that white. And that part starts to get bitter. So you don't want the white part. Just a mellow yellow. And almost done. Mixing spoon. Zesty. It smells great. I love the lemon zest. I'm just going to add a little bit of kick. All right. Here, another tasting spoon. Ooh, I'm about to get full. All right. That's cool. I need something more. It's not there yet. It's lacking just a little punch. And I don't want to salt it up. I'm going to go with some balsamic vinegar. And if I could find it today, there we go. With some balsamic vinegar and some nice crushed red pepper. That'll spice things up. I like my gazpacho to have a little bit of gusto. So I'm just rubbing this to activate some of the oils in the pepper. Right? We're going to go in with a decent hand with this balsamic vinegar. Excuse me. About the same amount of balsamic that we put as the red wine vinegar. And that's going to kick this up a notch. Okay. A little bit more of the old black pepper, because I wasn't really getting any kick. And just another little small pinch of salt. And then, like I said, we're almost done with the soupy part. I'm gonna add a little bit of, this is extra virgin olive oil. This is gonna bind things up and give a nice rich flavor. So this is about a quarter of a cup. Like so. Add a little bit of fat, a little bit of richness to the dish. I got some parsley here. And just tear off a little bit. I'm going to give this a little rough chop. Minding my fingers. It's too late in the game to lose a finger. Alright, a little parsley for garnish and a little bit of freshness. Storm is coming. So, give this a little stir. I'm getting full off of these tastes, for real. Okay. That's pretty good. One thing I can say about Gazpacho for real, I'm gonna put this down. Every recipe that I saw, I look for assistance in recipes. I didn't go to culinary school. So I find recipes and I take piece here, I take piece here to my liking, and I adjust it. But you gotta let this sit down for a while. So I'm gonna refrigerate this. So the minimum is looking like maybe an hour, 2 hours. Some people say 4 hours. You know, cover it up with some plastic wrap and refrigerate it, and it builds flavor because it's really fresh right now. You know, everything's just been combined. So you let it sit for a while, let all those flavors kind of marry and soak in. You know, like osmosis, you have these vegetables and fruits and the skin and the membrane and the seasoning and you know, all these components let them kind of come together. Let the salt break stuff down, let the vinegar break stuff down, and get in there, like marinate a little bit more, because it's very fresh. I mean, you can use this as a marinade. You can use this as a base, like this is like sofrito or something like that. You can use this as a seasoning. So the application that we're using it for is just having it as this soup. But best thing to do, best practice for us, is to let this chill for a while. Just cover it up. I'm just going to use my little spatula and scrape all of the goodies from the side. Scrape it down to make sure everything is in the bowl. We don't want to waste any of this good stuff, right? And cover this with plastic wrap. Find a little spot for it to chill in the fridge, and come back and get at it later. And I'm back. So I know I said we're gonna let the gazpacho sit for a minimum of like an hour. A lot of recipes call for about 4 hours, just to let it set and let those flavors combine and come together, and let everything marinate and come up to speed. So I did this overnight, so it's definitely more than 24 hours later. I put my gazpacho covered up in this plastic container in the fridge, and it's definitely chilled. It's definitely all set together. So this is about ready, and just gonna grab a little bowl. And the other thing I had to accompany the a little crostini. So I just got a little bit of French bread, toasted it off, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of seasoning, some Italian seasoning, maybe some salt and pepper, just to, just give it a little kick, and rub it with a clove of garlic. Just cut a clove of garlic in half and rub on the toasted bread, right? So we got some bread, just to dip and enjoy this a little bit. So I'm gonna serve this up with a nice little bowl. And it's a warm evening. It's not as hot as it was yesterday, but it's still a warm summer evening. And this gazpacho is set up really nice. It's chunky just the way I like it. And you see all the little components here. Everything is combined very well. And I'm just gonna go for it. I'm grabbing from different parts of the bowl just to make sure I get a good representation of everything that's in here. And I saved some larger chunks of the cucumber, just so you could kind of play with the textures and play with the size of the elements that are inside the gazpacho, right? So that's a lot, right? So I'll save this for the share, everybody else, but right now, this is my gazpacho all done. So I'm just gonna get a little tear of this French bread. And I'm not even gonna bother to use a spoon right now. I'm just gonna dip right in here, grab some. It is a soup, I don't really need my spoon right now. I'm gonna grab a little bit and see how this worked out. It's way better than it was yesterday. Yesterday, everything was very green and very fresh tasting. It wasn't seasoned well. Everything is right now set very well. Everything is seasoned well, and it's everything's blended together very well. So try this gazpacho recipe out. Let me know how you like it, and don't forget to do all those great things: like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you the next time on the Cookland channel. Thanks for watching.